Hello ladies and gents, we are back for more League of Legends. This time it's going to be NiP and Faculty duking it out on the Rift. We are live into the picks and bans as you can see, and we have had a few questions in the chat here, Stress, about the kind of layout of the tournament. They're all going to be best of ones today, and I believe tomorrow they're all best of ones apart from the grand finals, which are best of 3. So lots of games, lots of action, and these kind of games do not give you much leeway for mistakes. If you mess up and you lose that BO1, you're in a pretty bad position.
Yeah, that is very true, and this needs to be a Rengar or a Lulu ban. Please ban Rengar or Lulu, because NiP are running a disgusting composition right now that I fell in love with yesterday casting it.
But you made it sound bad, but you fell in love with it. How does that work?
You know, sometimes it's not what's good for you. It's just
right. It's a love-hate relationship you have.
Exactly.
Okay, and then on top of that, you also have to worry about Power of Evil Syndra. So there's a lot of things that you have to try and target out, and they've gone for Kayle, which Alex does play at top. He is known for his Kayle and Jax. But as you say, there is a lot of big champions still available for NiP.
So, okay. So unless Faculty take away Kog'Maw, Rengar, Nami, or Orianna, this could be the comp that we saw yesterday. So Lulu is likely to sit on Alex. If Faculty were watching yesterday, they'd likely know what's coming here. So Faculty now need to kind of do damage control if NiP are going to repeat the same thing. So Ku has been playing a lot of Rengar recently. And the thing is, if they take Rengar away from him, he'll probably just play Lee Sin.
Yeah. That's the thing about NiP, their champion pools are so deep and versatile that even if you do ban out all the champions that we've seen, Kassadin, Jackson, Kayle, which all basically Alex plays, Power of Evil of course is mid laner, so you have to assume that his Kassadin's pretty strong, but on the flip side, Faculty are actually going for the Yasuo and also Thresh. So what are your thoughts here? This still leaves open that composition you're talking about.
Oh, if this is likely to be Orianna Rengar here then, if they're hovering over Orianna. So Yasuo will do a good job if they can get the knockups on to freeze. Now, obviously NiP aren't fully committing to this, but it is the basis of the composition. There's the Rengar. Here's the utility mid laner. Freeze is likely to lock something like a Kog'Maw. A couple of other options are still available if they don't end up picking it, and then it's likely to be a Nami as the support, or something that can give a shield. And it makes for an incredibly difficult composition to break, and I'll explain why as we head into the game. But Yasuo could do a good job of that, because it's unstoppable of him getting into the backline if they hit Kog'Maw. That's the difficult bit though.
Well, they're thinking about a Lee Sin as well, which Lee Sin's not a terrible pick against Rengar. Obviously you're going to be able to if you do land skill shots to get rid of that invisibility on Ku's Rengar, but if they do get that composition off though, Stress, it's really not going to matter. They're going to get chunked so hard.
So Shyvana is a good pick. Synergizes well with Yasuo. Teleport can come into the backline. It's going to be all about the teleports, so likely to see Nami Cog locked in here. And this would be the exact composition they ran yesterday. There you go. 5 for 5 on NiP's composition. It's disgusting. And this composition, it was so powerful yesterday. I'm harping on about it a lot, but I actually love this composition because it's got everything to protect Kog'Maw, and then Rengar murders your face.
I like that. I'm going to murder your face. Not any other part of you, just your face. And you shouldn't have said anything, dude, because if you'd have called these picks, I would have been in awe. I would have like, Mystic, Stress has landed. He has entered the building. Last pick is going to be the AD carry for Faculty. What are you feeling here? Maybe a Caitlyn to try and harass in lane? I'm not so sure.
Twitch is a decent option. Caitlyn would be good, but NiP going into this, if they do pick Twitch here, NiP will just go 2v1 top. They've done that time and time again. Saying that 2v1 top, this is how much I've casted NiP. I can pretty much call exactly what they're going to do. They'll put Freeze in a solo lane on his own against Shyvana. Voidal alongside Alex in the 2v2. and just kind of control the game from there. Give Freeze the comfortable laning phase. To be honest, the information I'm saying is nothing that M Faculty won't already know if they've paid attention to NiP's games. NiP pretty much do the same thing every game. But it's very, very effective because of how consistent they are as players.
Yeah, it's interesting as well that on the poll that we called before, somewhere of 80+% of people were voting for NiP. The last time I casted these two, and Faculty won the series 2-0. So maybe with this composition they're going to throw a spanner in the works here and try and make something come out of thin air. But while we do ponder these questions and try and get ourselves into the mindset of what's going to happen, we're going to cut to a quick commercial break. When we rejoin us, we'll be live onto the Rift between Faculty and NiP in the second matchup of today. So we'll be back in just a few moments. Hello, ladies and gents. As you can see, we are live onto the Rift here in game number 2 between nFaculty and NiP. I'm joined by Stress, and my lovely co-caster has a few things to say about Rengar, Stress, so take it away.
I do. That sounds like some kind of self-help, or like, you know, those
actually.
missionaries that are like, have you ever thought about Rengar? Do you have a couple of minutes to talk about Rengar?
Gonna knock on your door.
Yeah,
you heard
exactly.
About Rengar?
So it's a really interesting champion that's come back in, and you can see Ku at level 1 is just like, hey, you release it, I don't care. Yeah, so, wow, Obvious actually losing half of his health there. So, Rengar, seen him a little bit in OGN, seen him a little bit in EULCS as well, Impalo was playing him. And the premise behind this particular composition is Ku is running 12.5% cooldown. Look at this damage already in the early game. Ku is forcing Obvious back. He's running 12.5% cooldown reduction. He'll likely get Lucidity Boots, likely get a Ghost Blade during the game as well. And what it does is allows him to throw out the Bullet Strike more often to get picks. And the rest of the team composition is set up purely to defend freeze on a hyper carry like Kog'Maw. The thing that nFaculty have that may undo that is the Shyvana into Yasuo should be very good getting into the backline, but they have to get there. And past the Tidal Wave, past Shockwave, past the shields and wild growth that Lulu is going to have, may make it very difficult here, but they are collapsing on NiP, and it would be disastrous to lose this.
They are. Alex has been caught out from Lee. Obvious is going to be giving chase. Alex is more than likely going to have to burn his flash here if he wants to survive this one. He's been encircled though. In fact, is he going to burn his flash? No. He succumbed to his fate. And that is one way of dealing with his composition if you can snowball from an early advantage. Let's see if nFaculty can do just that.
Yeah, if they invade the blue here as well, that would be pretty bad for Ku. Prunbear's going to go for it. Okay, so Ku's going to get put fairly far behind. This is a really nice way of starting out. And it really has punished NiP's aggression in the early game. I mean, what I will say about this is the First Blood is not worth a great deal. They got a good couple of assists out of it as well, though. That's something to keep in mind. And they're in a lane swap. I wonder whether this is good mind gaming out of NiP to put their duo lane in the standard lane, because they knew nFaculty would try and call them on the lane swap.
Yeah, because you want Kog'Maw to get farm. You want him to get to that mid to late game as soon as possible. So maybe they were thinking, oh, he's going to go top lane in. You did say this as well before, that often NiP will send Freeze into his own lane just to get that farm on Kog'Maw. So again, it kind of seems to me that Steelback was trying to call that one preemptively. Yeah,
and I actually think that you'll see Voidal recall very soon. Look at this invade out of nFaculty. This is really smart. And I like the way nFaculty are trying to deal with NiP in this early game. And if they can keep this up and get Twitch farmed up, this will go really well into the mid game for them.
Yeah, Twitch, you know, we spoke a lot about Kog'Maw as the pause comes in, but Twitch is also an AD carry that you can't, you know, rule out. He is going to scale very well, even with the recent nerfs that came to him. He's still very strong AD carry. Also likes to build a similar build path to what Lucian did last time, so things like Blade the Rune King and Ghost Blade are quite often seen on Twitch, and with his Spray and Pray, or his Rat-a-tat-tat as it's now called, that's a lot of damage you can put down in just a few moments.
Okay, Alex has got a little bit of a bug or a game crash or something like that, so hopefully it won't happen too... well, hopefully it won't take too long. And the problem NiP have is their overconfidence in the very early game, I feel. It's something that Ku has kind of struggled with on many teams, is that sometimes he's just too confident with the power on his champions. He knows how good a player he is, and kind of just goes in.
Yeah, there is a case to be made that often he does go lone wolf. You know, he'll go in by himself, way ahead of the rest of the pack, and in doing so he plays himself into a position, and we actually spoke about this at length at DreamHack as well, where a couple times they looked a bit shaky with Ku going all in, getting himself killed, and then as a result the rest of his team just had to basically say, okay, we can't fight this anymore, we have to back on away. Lost them objectives. So there's no doubting that his mechanical and his individual skill is top notch, but sometimes he does let himself down a tiny bit.
Yeah, I saw it yesterday in the games against SK Prime in the TSM Invitational that He actually was starting diving 2 towers. One of them actually kind of put the game a little bit further back for NiP. I mean, they ended up, I think it was 3-0ing that series, but one game looked really quite shaky because they were overextending so much. But yeah, it's things to watch out for in this game is Ku overextending, Freeze being caught out in bad positions, and teleports coming out from Pronbeth in through the back line. So those are really things that will go in favor of N faculty. And I'm kind of talking a lot about this NiP composition, but I think it's one of the strongest compositions right now that I've seen on 4.10. But as I said, Yasuo Shyvana should be very good at getting to Freeze.
Yeah, and we actually saw this composition of Yasuo and Shyvana yesterday with Complexity picking up when they actually won. And it is a very scary, very good composition with Westrice would jump in on Shyvana and then instantly Prolly would use his last breath. There were a few dodgy ultimates, I'm going to be honest, with Westrice actually missing a couple times, but even with that, they were able to clean up the fights. They had, I think it was Robert Exley was running Tristana as well, so he was cleaning up, he was massive. Unpauses came in, Alex seems to be A-OK, so we're jumping back live again.
Oh, the Tristana games from yesterday. I've been saying to Spud how good Tristana's going to be on this patch, and while he hasn't been saying no it's not, he's been somewhat more skeptical. And I saw double lift lock Tristana and I thought, great, okay, we're going to have somebody win on Tristana tomorrow, or today, and no. Would have to lose on that. Good one, double lift. Thank you for that.
Scumbag double lift. But you did get your victory in the end, Robert Exley using it to good use.
Yeah, I guess, but it did go 1 and 2 yesterday, but...
Oh, another pause.
Looks like we've got... Oh, okay.
Oh,
Alex has got
bug,
the... I love that bug. The, to be honest, sometimes I actually just play holding spacebar anyway. Like, for some reason. I don't know why. Don't ask me.
It's weird, though, because I do as well, but it depends on the situation.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. And obviously Alex, you know, the case could be made, well, how come he only just noticed? Well, because he was under his tower, he didn't really need to be darting around the map, but yeah.
I do it a lot during team fights, otherwise I just get lost. Do you ever find that?
Yeah, as an AD carry, definitely.
I'm like, oh, I'm in great position, and you hold spacebar, and then you're like, oh, actually, there's a Shyvana on my face.
Or actually, I'm underneath 2 towers dying. Brilliant. That's happened to me before, actually. True story. Oh my god.
Dear.
How did I ever get diamond?
We gotta hope that Freeze doesn't do that, because Kog'Maw's the champion that you really can't afford to do that on.
True.
0 escape.
Speaking of 0 escape, Twitch is in the same area as well. I mean, yeah, he has ambush, but that was nerfed. It takes longer now to get into the stealth. As another unpause comes about, let's hope this is the final one of the game. But yeah, both AD carries have to be pretty safe, I've got to say. And Freeze is the master at these kind of champions. I mean, after all, he mained Raven, who's in a similar boat as well.
So, while Twitch normally is a little bit caught out sometimes with having no escape, that's why you see Twitch alongside Thresh so much. Dark Passage just gives him an escape, essentially. So, yeah, as you said, they both have no escape if Mountain isn't besides Steelback.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And yes, Nami will be able to peel quite a lot for Kog'Maw, but it's skill shot based. Actually, Pure Effect. I'm trying to pronounce his name right, but he just took a lot of damage in mid from Orianna, getting poked and poked again.
Which is not something that you would expect. I mean, Orianna is very consistent and does okay against Yasuo, but Yasuo should only really be engaging or like trying to harass when that shield is up.
Yep, so he is going to find himself slightly behind on CS right now. Alex in a 1v2 lane is still trying his best to keep them at bay. And to be fair, he's not doing a terrible job. 20 CS to Shyvana's 11. That's to be expected though, because of course Lulu does have the advantage on ranged attacks.
I find it somewhat curious that typically we've seen Voidal going to Alex's side a lot, and I wonder whether it's because they didn't feel too comfortable with Freeze on Kog'Maw in a solo lane yesterday, because he did get a little bit camped, or whether it's that Ku just wants to be alongside Alex. but then he's not building, he's not getting the gold on Rengar that they were getting yesterday, so I wonder how this will scale.
Yeah, you did just, as you mentioned, Q potentially wanting to stick around with Alex. Did go to the top lane, it's now going to be recalling. And I do wonder how much of an impact those early level 1 invades that just backfired for NiP hurt him. Because after that, they went straight and stole the blue buff as well.
Yeah, I guess that one of the things right now is that because of the number of pauses, is Perfect's actually going aggressive, but Power of Evil has his ultimate.
Yeah, Pure Effect though does land the Steel Tempest, and that's going to keep Power of Evil at bay for now. Does have a level advantage, and as you say, Shockwave is used. Has about a 10 CS advantage as well, but again, Orianna is one of the best farmers in the entire game, so it's not a huge surprise.
Yeah, nothing too surprising in that middle lane, and yeah, I guess it feels like the game's a little bit later on because of the 2 pauses. So one of the things about Kog'Maw in lane now is because of the change to the mana cost of Bio-Arcane Barrage, she actually has a much more comfortable laning phase, because you can just last hit from a much further range. So it's one thing that kind of balanced out a lot of Kog'Maw's disparities in lane. And now that you can get him in a 2v1 fairly easily, that's why we're seeing him a fair amount back in play. Typically we're seeing Blade of the Ruined King into Trinity Force as well, so pretty expensive build path, but there's the Bilgewater Cutlass, as we say that, for Kog'Maw.
I just want to pick your brains a bit here, Stress. Keeping an eye on what's going on with Q. In fact, he's just going to get his wolves instead. Heal on Yasuo against Power of Evil, picking up Ignite on Orianna. What's your take on that? Because Yasuo typically likes to be an aggressive laner and trying to get those kills.
I kind of... So, it's not exactly typical to see heal on Yasuo just for how aggressive he is. You are correct on that. I wonder whether it's to do with him expecting Ku to stick around middle lane quite a lot and wanting not to die to Ku.
Not to allow Ku to get that snowballing stage where he is able to just blow anyone up. Again though, they have the timing on blue buff and they're going to go in and steal this one out. So the woes continue here. Obvious picks that one up for himself, and Ku is struggling. You know, he's picked up double golems, he's going back, he's not even level 6 yet, which is really where he wants to be, so he can try to set something up. And they're doing such a good job of shutting him out of this game.
Yeah, they really are, and the thing is his red buff was up, didn't choose to go for it because he just used Smite and wanted to heal up and get, I believe he just got the Mad Reds as well. But I mean, this is going pretty well in N-Faculty's favour, but look at the itemization out of NiP. They're building for the late game. Triple Dorans is very standard on Lulu just to give her the survivability in lane, but Tear of the Goddess on Orianna is not typical at all. Tronbear, look at the damage already coming from Kog'Maw.
Yeah, that's just the Bilgewater Cutlass. You know, we do talk at length about how Kog'Maw is a late game terror, but I think a lot of people kind of underestimate his damage going through after level 6 as well. You got the artillery, living artillery is his ultimate, and then Bio-Arcane Barrage, which especially when you put that in conjunction with Tidecaller's Blessing, does a lot of damage. Like, a lot of damage.
That was actually what I was going to bring up, was the Tidecaller's Blessing as well. Although it's one of the really overlooked Nami aspects of the laning phase. Is I know we like to play quite a lot on Nami Twitch in when we duo. But yeah, Tidecaller's Blessing is so strong. It deals so much extra damage with the slow as well, so it's just a really good way of keeping control of the lane. And you can see they're going to shred down this dragon, and that's going to offset that early game advantage that N-Faculty had.
And I do wonder as well, with the switch up coming out here from N-Faculty, did they put themselves in a sticky situation? Because Lulu is going to deal with the 1v2 so much better than Shyvana, because you can poke with Glitter Lances, you can clear waves much easier than Shyvana can. They've lost the tower, they've therefore lost the dragon as well. Look at that tower, it's still pretty healthy at the top lane, and Alex is having no problems keeping this one alive.
Yeah, indeed. NiP is stalking around bottom lane. Somebody was asking, does blue buff give Yasuo anything, so they want to secure it on their team. Obvious had just picked one up for himself, so a refresh isn't the most important thing, and it'll give him the cooldown reduction. That's one thing that Yasuo is going to kind of be happy about. It's very minor, but it's more that NiP don't end up stealing it. Oh, Freeze could be in a tricky spot here.
Dragon's Descent into Tidal Wave, I should say, and actually turn that instantly on Shyvana, who gets popped in a heartbeat. All 5 players here from NiP suddenly, as Alex did just use his teleport. And in fact, on top of that, the Thrill of the Hunt used from Q, so he wants to be jumping in right now. Let's see if this composition's going to work. He gets himself put, Wild Growth knocks up, and Pure Effect will be flashing on out of that situation. So, NiP, they pick themselves up a kill, and looking to push mid tower as well.
Oh yeah, here's the other bit I missed out when we were going through the team composition. With Thrill of the Hunt, plus look at the movement speed buffs on NiP. You've got Voidal's kit will give Rengar a movement speed, Whimsy will give him a movement speed buff, Dissonance will give him a movement speed buff, and then it's perfect ball delivery system. Thrill of the Hunt into the jump, into the shockwave, will do insane amounts of damage, and then Freeze will clean up. That's the other aspect of this that I meant to put in, but this team composition has so much going for it that it's kind of difficult to fit everything in, you know, bite-sized chunks.
This really reminds me of like Ormo combo from Season 2, with like Malphite, Orianna, and you'd have like this crazy alt combination that would just burst somebody. And as you say, I didn't even think of the movement speed. Jeez, that is... How do you escape? How do you escape Q? It's like, no way.
There's the cooldown boots, which everybody is always like, why are you getting cooldown boots? The reason is because right now he has 27.5% cooldown reduction.
The Boulder Strike's real.
At 13 minutes into the game. That's
So,
kind of crazy.
That's going to allow him to throw a Boulder Strike out every 7 seconds.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's not every 7 seconds, because as soon as he charges 5, he can throw out another one.
That's true, yeah. So it's going to be a very nice way of locking down either Yasuo or Twitch, which is what they're going to want to exterminate. What they're going to want to... Pardon the pun, I didn't even mean that one onto the rap, but still, they just want to burn somebody, pop them. And after that, you know, Lee Sin, yes, he's going to do quite a bit of damage early game, but he will scale off. Shyvana does do quite a bit of damage throughout the game. But if they can get rid of Yasuo or Twitch, they're in really good shape.
Yeah, they really are. And to be honest, it's not even a case of getting rid of them so much as, oh, Power of Evil.
Well, he's been completely caught out. Last Breath has been used, and there's the Shockwave. Tidal Wave as well on top of that one. But it's just delaying the inevitable. Orianna still falls down, so Faculty doing a decent job of keeping themselves close in this matchup.
The animation of Shockwave didn't actually complete here, and NiP are being a little bit risky on this blue buff. I don't think they know it's actually warded here, so... And Faculty will invade. They'll get the blue buff for a 3rd time this game. They're doing great at controlling the blue buff.
Yeah, constantly keeping Q behind. He's now slipped 2 levels behind his counterpart of Obvious, and they're both about the same way through the level as well. So Obvious could be hitting 10 by the time that Q gets back towards his own jungle. That is a pretty nifty play, I've got to say, from Faculty. They have definitely targeted out their man. They followed through with that that tactic, honestly, and I would say they pretty much perfectly pulled it off as well.
Yeah, I mean, Faculty have planned this early game really well, and it's something we saw in their games against NiP earlier in the week, was they had a really strong early game, and it just depends on how they can carry that through. That's the biggest question, is if NiP get caught out by Yasuo, by Shyvana, and I've said this a couple of times, I'll keep saying it, because it will be the thing that will undo NiP. That is what will completely tear this composition apart, is if Freeze gets caught in the fights.
Yeah, and when you have Shyvana and Yasuo who are able to both get to the backline very quickly, as you have already mentioned, plus Thresh as well. And we saw yesterday from, I think it was Glebe on TSM, who actually caught a couple of huge hooks in team fights onto Double Lift. That is going to be the kind of situation they're going to want to be in. If they catch hooks on Kog'Maw, he is going to get popped. It doesn't matter how scary he is with damage, he is going to get instantly killed. And speaking of that, Power of Evil with the Shockwave, he's in mid, and he goes down to Yasuo.
That really is uncharacteristic of Power of Evil, but is also uncharacteristic of NiP. Just that they're getting caught out like that. That's not going to help them, which is super obvious, but Dragon coming up at 15 seconds is the perfect time for that to happen by N Faculty. Whether it was a bit of a gift to them, oh, Alex might get kicked over.
And he gets caught from the death sentence, he will get kicked over into the flay in the last breath as well. So we're talking about the wombo combo from NiP, but N Faculty have their own. I was speaking about the Shyvana into Yasuo, but what I didn't take into account is the flay from Thresh as well.
Yeah, NiP, that's not good. You just fed kills to Yasuo, and they just gave a dragon over. So it's a big spike in gold for N Faculty. Looking down the lines, 1400 on Shyvana, 1200 on Yasuo. This is going really well for N Faculty here, and you know, NiP just haven't got the ball rolling with this composition yet.
See what you did there, Oriana?
Yeah, I thought about that for a sec.
Well done, mate. Power of Evil does like himself some balls though, doesn't he? Because you've got Syndra and Oriana are pretty much his two main champions.
I'm sure you made this joke.
I did.
Was it a DreamHack? Or...
It was. Although I actually went deeper than that with the joke at DreamHack, which I remember you having a good chuckle at that one. But he has made some mistakes. He's died twice. In fact, that's pretty much been the summary of this game so far from NiP, and that's just mistakes. I mean, right from the very get-go, Alex getting caught out around red buff. And from there on in, they've not really settled fully.
I'm still not sure whether that deeper plan was intentional or not.
I'm not going to lie, it was. I wasn't sure if you'd catch it or not.
Of course I caught it. I know you well enough, Vince. Oh dear. As I said, it's one of those days. And seemingly Alex is having one of those days, because he's 0-2. Now he is up in CS. That is to be expected somewhat in Lulu being in a 2v1, but he might get caught out here again. He's warded for it Whimsies himself, so it should be enough, but Alex, you're playing risky, man.
Playing with fire, yeah. He's constantly on cusp of being caught out, but I guess that's one of the marks of a very good player, when they are able to pull themselves back just in time. Now Steelback, he's gone into his ambush. He wants to catch Power of Evil. Again, the Q has landed. They're going to go into this. They forced a flash. Still a very much worthwhile endeavour from the Faculty.
Very much so. I mean, Power of Evil was only trying to defend a pink ward and put a lot into that now. NiP may get this bottom tower if they stay, or may catch a rotation here. Oh, it's actually Alex in the top lane.
Yeah, he wants this kill. He's got the Morellonomicon as well, so he's going to be able to get rid of some healing regen from Shyvana, who will have to go back here, actually recall. So, you know, for all of the problems, for all of the mistakes that NiP have made in this game, they're still very close. It's not a blowout performance so far. They're actually ahead in towers.
Uh-oh, Alex knows what's about to happen.
Well then. Just as I say that NiP is still in this game, so much damage from Yasuo, and it's going to be wild growth to use, but Alex is not going to survive this onslaught. He will be going down, does get the last breath though for his troubles, and now the engage is on with Mountain and Steelback. Tidal Wave didn't land.
NiP just need to call this and take the tower. That's what they should be doing, but they're not there in time, and the problem is, for N Faculty, they're not pushing top lane as well. Maybe they're going to go to now? Okay, they're going to group mid instead, but NiP need to do something with this while they had a couple of seconds in the bottom lane, but both teams are being very indecisive about this, and it's finally N Faculty that will actually make a decision.
Yeah, they will. They do get that middle tower. We're now moving down to bot lane. Rengar needs to be careful. Could get himself caught out. Another buff is going to be stolen away as well. That's what, 4 now, Stress? 3 blues and 1 red?
Yeah, that's really starting to hurt Ku. Just checking, is there something wrong with one of the mics? That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, someone in chat did say that, so by all means guys, give us some feedback. If there's issues with the sound, we'll try and sort that for you. It could be a problem on your end though, by the way. If you do refresh the stream, that is a known fix for Hitbox, so yeah,
apparently one of us sounds weird. I'm going to take the hit and say that's me. And it's got nothing to do with my mic. But Steel back in the middle lane.
Yeah, he is. Shockwave flashes through it, and again Power of Evil is caught out completely. And the kill goes across the Twitch, 6-1 the scoreline.
Yeah, 6. That's NiP just not looking like the NiP that we saw yesterday dominate SK Prime, and this 4-0-1 Yasuo is becoming more and more of a problem. Again, it's going to be difficult to stop him getting to freeze, and NiP need to start taking actual grouped fights.
Yeah, apologies for that. Apparently my mic sounds duff. That's quite an English word. I'm surprised that Hexit knew that one. Is my mic bad, Stress? I didn't even know.
I don't know. I haven't. I don't think it's duff.
Duff
It is quite an English word.
It is.
Obvious.
Oh, he is going to be okay for now. Dark Passage, but there's the thrill on the hunt. They are going to be jumping on in. Flame through Tidal Wave as well. Doesn't catch either of them. And that's actually also going to be the flash from Rengar. Bombear comes in with the teleport. He's been chunked down. Last breath as well. The damage is real. 2 players fall in as many milliseconds. And now Freeze is not positioning correctly. 4 players have died at the cost of only 2 lives on the side of Faculty. In fact, 0 lives, I should say. I thought that passive was going to secure a couple of kills. And now Baron's been stolen. This will be finished off.
That last breath was huge, and then it left Freeze completely on his own. Steel back forced away, but that is going to be a Baron going over to end Faculty, and now they have a commanding lead against Ninjas in Pajamas. The team composition that worked yesterday for them just is not working today because of the great early game pressure out of end Faculty. Look at it, 0 for Lulu, 0 for Orianna. The solo laners for NiP right now are just dropping the ball. Sorry,
indeed.
To the pun. Oh, it's not even intentional.
Freak is at you. Must be. But they are, you know, all things considered, they are definitely not all on the same wavelength. There's been a lot of mistakes here, and I did say this before, that the 18% that voted for Faculty, I felt that should have been closer to 50-50, because last time I saw these guys play, Faculty won it 2-0, and they were comfortable games as well, and NiP looked out of sorts, so this is an extremely one-sided game now, Stress. Just a few moments ago, it was about 2,000 gold difference, and now that's quickly escalated towards 9,000.
Yeah, that's, I mean, okay, so there's a couple of little bits of itemization that, once it's completed for NiP, should kind of maybe steady the ship. I mean, you're looking for 2 Zhonya's Hourglass here, but they are quite a way away, and NiP need to stop hemorrhaging objectives to get to that point. Also, once Cog has the Trinity Force, that's another key point. But the itemization is on NiP is to get them to the late game. So that's one thing to keep in mind, that if NiP can hold this, they should be okay. But it's a big gold lead right now for Faculty, and they have really big items completed. Blade of the Rune King, Static Shiv in stereo there on Twitch, and Yasuo here. So, I mean, Banshee's Veil on Shyvana as well makes it pretty difficult to kill. Freeze, oh, freeze.
Oh dear. That's a rip moment right there. He goes down. He's got 1 kill and bagged himself 2 deaths. And with the Baron, they could look to push this. There's a creep wave right behind them. 4 players moving in. Shyvana's going bot lane, so they're going to go for the 4-1 formation and go for the split push. And this is just looking horrendous from NiP. That's another blue buff. In fact, is that 0 blue buffs this entire game from NiP?
Yep. That's painful. And, you know, what else is painful is that Alex used teleport, and they knew that. Shyvana is just going to push bottom. They're just continuing to lose objectives again and again here. Top tower is going to go down. NiP can't do anything really to stop this if they wanted to take the engagement. It's only because they can't see the numbers here, can end Faculty, that they're not able to push that tower down.
Yeah, and there was a moment as well about a minute or so ago where Ku actually popped his ultimate and no one else was interested from NiP, so he basically used it for nothing. Here comes another engage, the last breath only onto Alex. But with the Baron and with the 5v4 now, this could be good for them. There's the shockwave, lands on both Thresh and Yasuo. which aren't really the targets that they're opting for. 1-for-0 trade, plenty ultimates used in the process, and again, the health regen from Baron is just going to keep Faculty ticking on over here.
Yasuo does such a good job of completely reducing everything Freeze is trying to do as well, because if they time the Bioarcane Barrage and the Wind Wall at fairly similar times, or just, to be honest, any of Freeze's damage on the Wind Wall, it means Freeze is sat there at the back of the fight not actually doing anything, and he has to either position himself past the wall, at which point he is close enough to be killed, or output no damage.
So where did NiP go from here, Stress? You know, you saw this composition flourish for them, when was it, yesterday or the day before. This is a very one-sided affair in Faculty's favour. What can they do to bounce back?
They need, as we always say, to hold inhibitor towers. If they make a mistake that loses an inhibitor tower, there is almost no way of them winning this. They need to dig in for the next 10 to 15 minutes, maybe even have to give up the next Baron, and kind of just hold it, because the one thing that Faculty don't really have is siege potential. It's only really Twitch. You look at the rest of it, Shyvana is melee, Lee is melee, Yasuo is melee, Thresh is, you know, ranged, but it's very, very short. They're relying on an engage. Alex, don't go to that lane. Alex, don't. Oh, Alex is dead.
I was going to say, I don't think he can hear you. And his team are probably telling him the same thing at this point. He is a dead man. I can't see him escaping this. He is going to stall the push for a little while longer, I guess, but when they kill him, they're then going to be in a 4v5. And they're going to be okay to keep going. Their sentence has landed, will live up to its name. Alex has already used his wild growth. He's given them the runaround, but yeah, that's a godlike Yasuo, 7-0.
Why are you going to that lane, Alex? I know you want to farm. I know you need the gold. But it's not worth it.
Look at his items. That is bare bones right now.
He's in a horrible spot. He's 0-6. When was the last time you saw Alex Each go 0-6? Now, I don't want to speak for him, because I obviously don't know. He did have a couple of issues at the beginning with his computer. Hopefully that means he's not actually continuing to have issues, and I don't think even if he is, that's, you know, an excuse to use, because that's what the pause feature is for. So, but this is a very uncharacteristic performance by Alex. 0-6.
Well, Q has used his Thrill of the Hunt again. Are they going to be looking for Twitch? This could be a nice pickup for Twitch. He knows someone's close. Ambushes came out. Ball Strike lands as well. But this could be a bad engage. There's the Dragon's Rage. And all the damage afterwards again. This synergy is huge with Yasuo. And now he's going to be rinsing and repeating on towards Rengar. Gets that kill. 2-for-0. Orianna completely in the wrong place in no man's land. Going to be chased down from Obvious. He's already used his ultimate, so doesn't really have the kill potential. But the rest of the team says no problems. We'll just push mid instead.
Why would NiP engage without Voidal? They didn't have vision of everybody, and now Voidal's dead.
I wish I had answers for you, but I really can't figure it out either. This is very reminiscent to the last time I saw these two teams play. NiP, the communication wasn't there, they didn't seem to be on the same wavelength, and they're just getting crushed. I mean, that sounds a harsh thing to say, but you look at the stats, they don't lie. They're getting absolutely decimated.
Maybe Faculty are just the Achilles heel of NiP.
Possible. They've done it a number of times now, but I'm not sure about this from Faculty. I mean, the Baron's there. Do you really want to chase an Orianna?
At this point, the game's pretty much done. So...
yeah, I guess. So, it doesn't really make a difference. They can send Lee Sin and Yasuo and still get the Baron anyway.
Yeah. Oh, Power of Evil didn't end up dying. It's okay, I thought he may have.
Well, this, you know, at this point I want to hype the game. I want to be as optimistic as possible, but this is one of the most one-sided games I've seen against NiP. It's not often you see them getting crushed like this. The composition, the gimmick that they threw in, on paper looks good. It has worked for them in the past, but this game, it's just categorically not worked for them.
Yeah,
they got
like,
1 kill at 30 minutes.
To be honest, I don't feel like it's a gimmick to the point where it's, if the comp didn't work, it fell apart. It's just that NiP have played this wrong. I wouldn't, and I know you're not, I wouldn't blame the composition here. It's got like nothing to do with the champions NiP have really picked, but more to do with the fact their solo laners have just completely... I was about to use a term that I really shouldn't do live on stream.
Which one, because I was going to say the same thing.
Something about bed?
Bed. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, that.
I can't disagree with you, and yeah, you're right. I'm not blaming the characters or the composition, but as you say, when your solo laners are 0 for 11 collectively, something's wrong. Ku, this is what I was talking about before, that Lee Sin is a decent pick against him. He's being slippery, he's being a bit of a pain in the backside, but that's going to be another buff falling to N Faculty. And in fact, if Obvious can land this Q, this is going to be all she wrote for Ku. He is dead, and that's 1 for 16. Not too much you can say about this.
No, not too much indeed. I kind of feel for Freeze and Voidal, because collectively they have the only kill and half of the assists on the game for their team.
Depressing is that.
They haven't really died that much. When you consider it's Cogmore, and he's died 2 times in a game that's 16-1. I kind of feel for him on this one.
Yeah, and he does have the Triforce and Blade the Rune King, but there's nothing you can do when there's 5 players who can just pretty much insta-give you at this stage of the game, and they are going to pick up that tower. Both the inhibs have fallen. This is going to be the 3rd one they're going in. This is last chance alone, but honestly, even if NiP... Well, that's not going to help.
That sums up the game.
Yep, that's pretty much the game in a nutshell. They go back in again for seconds, last breath through, and that is going to be legendary for Yasuo. Can they get the kill on him? Unlikely, as he has a GA, so he's going to finish this game flawlessly. Obvious also with the GAs tanking up the tower. Perfect's taking quite a bit of damage. He lands, gets landed on, I should say, from an Aqua Prism, but that's the Nexus falling, and that's going to be in Faculty with a 2-0 scoreline in the group stages here, beating NiP 1-17.
They have come out to play today, and Faculty are looking really strong here, and you have to think that that's possibly their toughest competition that they now have a win over.
Kind of at a loss for words. I mean, I thought this was more of a 50-50 game. It was a difficult one to call. What I wasn't expecting, though, is it would be that one-sided. But again, that just harkens back to what we said previously, that this is Challenger. Anything is possible.
Yep. I completely agree with that, and anything is possible, but what is almost a certainty is that we'll be bringing you another game in just a couple of minutes.
Did I say Jace?
Did you say Jace?
Apparently.
I didn't hear Jace. It's okay. It's okay.
So it's like Jace holding off the tower? Okay.
Oh well. One of us may have, who knows. It was a crazy game. 17-1 as a scoreline, but we are going to be back with another game in just a couple of minutes. I believe it's going to be Unicorns of Love versus Ninjas in Pajamas, so we will be back with that in a couple of minutes here for the Hitbox Challenger Faceoff.
Beats for you has gotta stop.